So there's really nothing more synonymous with retirement than your 401k. So today I'm going to talk about my top 401k tips that you can take, implement yourself, hopefully be wiser and better poised and ready for retirement if you do so. So let's get in and have some fun. What do you say? So first tip is sign up immediately. If you haven't already, do it. If you have, great. But the first thing you should do when you get a job is select that little box on your employment benefits and sign up for your 401k. That's a must. The longer you invest, the better off you'll be. Next, minimum contribution. So even if times are tight and you're living more sort of paycheck to paycheck, which especially these times a lot of people are, there generally is a match when it comes to 401k, almost always. And in doing so, you are leaving free money on the table, even if you just put a little bit in. So generally you put 5%, they'll match 5. You put 6, they'll match 3. Even if it's not a great match, it's free money. I mean, heck, you can even take it out if you want the free portion and pay tax and penalty. Certainly not advised, but it's free money. So put the minimum amount in and do yourself a favor. Next, 10 to 15%. That's what sort of the experts, the studies will tell you to put away in your retirement. So make that your sort of first hurdle. Get the matched hours. That's a must. Work your way up to 10%, then to 15%, and you should be in a really good position by doing so. Next tip, max out, $19,500, additional $6,500 if you're 50 or over. If once you hit that 10 or 15%, your next hurdle or threshold, the carrot, if you will, should be get the max in. If you can max out that 401k for many years, you will have a substantial retirement savings come the end of the day and be better off because of it. Next tip, I've talked about this in the past, auto increase. There's typically a lot of 401ks these days have what's called an auto increase feature. It allows you to take your contributions in each year. If you're doing 10%, they go up to 11, to 12, to 13. The old saying, life's a cinch by the inch, hard by the yard. That's what this really speaks to, because it allows you to save and incrementally increase. The next thing you know, it's real dollars being put away, and your lifestyle didn't change much on the way up. Next, the old question, before or after tax. This is a tricky one. So a lot of 401ks these days have pre-tax contributions and they have Roth contributions. So what's right for you? It's tough. There's two sides of the coin. I think this is one we spend a lot of time talking to our clients about. It's not even bad to do a little bit of both. Remember, all matched hours go in pre-tax, but generally the higher your income is today, you may want to defer more on taxes and pay it later when you're in a lower tax bracket. It's sort of the conventional wisdom. If you're in a more moderate or fair tax bracket, or you think tax brackets are going to go up substantially in the future, shift to the Roth contribution. It's not a bad way to go. And really, if you can deal with the pain now, you're almost never going to be disappointed in the future. How much should you have in? So this is a pretty interesting one. So the studies, Fidelity put a study out a couple years ago that says at age 30, you should have 1 times your income in your 401k. By age 40, you should have 3 times. And by age 50, the goal is 6 times. And by 60, it's 8 times. I like that as a nice rule of thumb, but let's be overachievers. Add 25% to that. So instead of 1 time, 1.25. Instead of 8 times, make it 10 times. I find that feels a little better to me for my clients. But even if you go by Fidelity's rule of thumb, it's something to keep in the back of your mind, sort of that carrot, if you will. Next, the brokerage window. This is a great trick a lot of 401ks are now offering, or benefit, I should say, where instead of just the normal dozen options they give you, they let you open up into a brokerage window. This brokerage window allows you to invest in almost endless investment options. So be careful, but for a few dollars, you can open that up and better manage your 401k, or let someone like us do it. How to invest. This is a tricky one, and it really one that we spend a lot of time working with our clients on. So there's many ways to go about it. I think you really have to figure out, are you going to be aggressive investor and more stock oriented, or you don't really stomach the swings too much and you need to go more moderate. I definitely think if that's who you are, either or, you should consult with a professional, because this is serious stakes and you want to make sure you are getting out of your own way and your investments are aligned with your comfort. I see all too often that is not the case. Target date funds. I'm not a fan. So target date funds are essentially your retirement 2035 fund, 2040 fund. And essentially you're put into a big bucket with everyone else, and they just assume because you've hit a new age, you should get more conservative. And I don't think that's always the case. You pay extra cost to get the bundle, and I think you can build it more customizable to you and your needs and your goals and wishes than being lumped in a target date fund. Rebalance. So the old rebalance. So what does that mean? It essentially means, and what is the right cadence? So rebalance just means if you are in a 70% stock, 30% bond portfolio, and the stock market goes gangbusters, what happens is you want your stock to be back proportionate to your comfort level. So you don't want the 70-30 to stay an 80-20 because the markets had just driven it up. You want it to come back to a 70-30. So quarterly rebalancing is what we generally advise. And that tells your investments in your 401k, hey, once a quarter, get back in line. If it's gone too aggressive or too conservative, rebalance it back to where it should be. Active versus passive funds. So active are more stock picking funds and passive are more index funds. And candidly, there's benefits to both. And there's industries that do well in both, and there's sectors and time periods. And so in the spirit of diversification and getting the best of all worlds, we like to blend in both when looking at most people's 401k. There's no sort of one size fits all, which speaks to the diversification, right? So diversification that's the key to investing if you ask us. So diversification can really give you the comfort of taking the highs and lows out when it comes to your investing portfolio. And I think that's critical and something we should all shoot for, because you take out the highs, you take out the lows, and you have a more predictable return. What to do with the old 401k? So many people come to us because of that. They have 4 old 401ks with $500,000 in it, $1 million in it. And there's a lot of benefits to moving that to an IRA. One is unlimited investment options and not tied to an old employer. And that's what an IRA essentially stands for, is individual retirement account versus a corporate account at 3 different places. First of all, it becomes unwieldy to have multiple in IRA or 401ks, and it's hard to manage that and be consistent. So I think there's tons of benefits to moving that into a IRA that you can manage, or have someone such as ourselves manage. All right, last 2 tips. Do a 401k audit. So once a year, take your 401k and look for the following things. Are there new funds available? A lot of times that happens. Is your allocation still appropriate? Is still aligned with where you feel you should be? Check your performance. See if it feels right to you. Are there any new features that your 401k offers? A Roth feature, after tax feature, things of that nature. Check your contribution rate. Can you afford to add a couple percent? If so, definitely do it. Check your beneficiaries. A lot of times they're not aligned. Your beneficiaries are not who you think they should be or want to be anymore. And so take a look, make sure that's right. Or if your plan is to max out, are you still on target to do so or not? And are you getting the full employer match? So if you're due 5%, make sure your company does a true up if you max out too early, and you want to make sure you get the full benefit there. Last tip is which it may be going away, but it's still here today. So we'll see what happens in Congress. It's called the mega backdoor Roth. A lot of 401ks offer a after-tax feature. So not just a pre-tax or a Roth, but also an after-tax. And that after-tax feature, you can take and roll into a Roth IRA once a year or more frequently. So check these out, give a read in more detail to the article below. And as always, I'm Andrew Rosen, President of Diversified. Stay wealthy, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.